I have just 2,000 days to keep these people alive, through frost, protest, and feral children. And people are numbers, a resource rather than to be protected. Welcome to Frostpunk 2, set many years after 1. In 1, you had to build a settlement for humanity's last hope around a coal-powered generator. Gathering hundreds of desperate people, you endured the ice storms and starvation to survive as long as possible and let hope rise for humanity. Now, the last city of Earth is cradled in the rocks, thousands strong living within. Look at how beautiful she is. The central district alone is the size of the original colony at full build. The first task is to frostbreak. We need to select hexagons so I can set up an extraction district to the coal. The districts are the new buildings. Rather than one building, you deploy entire neighbourhoods at once. Like these two housing districts I am setting up now for peasants. While those build, the frostbreak is done and we can set up the extraction district and watch the road appear towards it, letting it glow with power and people. Oh, there goes one now. I love the new building system. Look at those buildings on the rock face itself. Absolutely love vertical city building. Early stage expansion is key, so we are frostbreaking above the housing to the food and coal in the hills. Not needed now, but we are future-proofing. While that of course goes on, we expand the housing so it allows us a specialist building slot. This is needed for a research tower. I would expand the food district too, but we are poor, because capitalism. Instead, I build another extraction district nearby to gather materials from frozen trees to build more things. Our resources are coal to power the generator, goods to make our people happy and forget the doom outside, materials to build, repair, construct and supply, then food, slightly important for peasants to survive, housing for the peasants to hide at night, and heat so they don't freeze at night. And then we have workforce, steam cores, and our money, heat stamps. Yes, capitalism pays and charges people in heat. Too poor, they are useless to us and literally die. Keeping them from actually dying, I deploy the Research Institute, making a crater, destroying houses, and sending a message to peasants that I am always watching. I do feel vaguely bad and build more houses for them though, and several weeks later, it is done. Research is affected by your communities. Each faction wants different things. With coal mines, foragers give something slightly different to machinists. We are obviously choosing machinists, as they actually like mining machines. Even more weeks later, the mine is complete and we deploy it into the coal district. It takes yet more time to build, but this helps immensely. While waiting, we grab another research for the sawmill to increase our frozen materials. As the generator tech is locked in the preview, again we choose the machinists. The foragers are upset with the favouritism being shown to Mechanicus acolytes, so now we have to have a council. We evict some peasants into the snow from the hub area, place the new building, and we now have a democratic adjacent council made up of the factions wanting control of the city by passing laws in survival, economy or society. With survival being kind of important, I go for foraged food additives for the vote. I can bribe people with favours or just hope for the best. And hope got me through, this time.
The proposed law has been approved.
With the council active and storms in the distance, we need to shore up the city. First stage is frostbreaking the frozen forest for materials so we can keep building and expanding districts. To keep building, I promise the foragers that I will pass a rule in their favour in the hopes of getting heat stamps off of them. Expedition support. Right now our interests align, but I don't think they will like the industrialisation I am planning. Plans which now include either guards or schools, as children are roaming the streets looking for trouble and causing tensions to rise. Too much tension and the city will fall. Ignoring it for now, we call and pass expedition support for the foragers, picking sides against the machinists. The city is already on the brink of war with itself. With the favour complete, I get my funds and use it to expand the tree logging operations and start frostbreaking towards the derelict way station, and immediately get a logistics district built around it. After that is an industrial district around the tree logging. It makes goods like chairs and puppets to distract the peasants from the cold, bleak gloom of impending death and the hellscape outside the basin. Speaking of that, outsiders are now looked on with distrust as soon as the way station is built. Great. We can go out, but no one can come in apparently. With outsiders being frowned upon, we research worker shift with the machinists to correctly use our small numbers, along with the law-paid essentials. If you want to eat, you've got to pay. Life is now a commodity, not a right. With working just to be fed now enforced, the waste station is active and we now have the brand new map of the wastelands to send unfortunate souls out to. We have 10 teams for that exploration till we get more up and running, with the area covered in fog till we explore nearby nodes. Each node needs a different amount of teams depending on difficult terrain. With that in mind, all 10 go for an easy valley and we return to the city, where the children's situation has gotten worse. With no school and guards, they are apparently fighting and dying in the streets. It's genuinely getting harder to pretend I like these people. Maybe they should have froze. Getting great in the city streets. Luckily we're expanding the city onto a cliff face. Maybe the kids will fall off the cliff face and stop fighting each other. I also frost break for a food district above that, to encourage them to climb higher for snacks in dangerous conditions. This is my one and only expansion food district, so it is vastly needed. While combating youth gangs, it has come to my attention the paid essentials law has caused capitalists to hoard goods, gouge prices and starve peasants. Half our problems are capitalistic, the other half feral youths. It's not going well in all honesty, so I look outside and ignore it. Our scout teams have found an abandoned coal mine. If we connect it back to base via roads, we can harvest it. I dumbly didn't realise it only connects to the north of the city, where our way station was built. I, instead, connected it to an old camp, like a moron. Back inside where I am smarter, I build more wood extraction districts as we are starting to run low at an alarming rate. I also put the law bill everyone wanted up, to have children become apprentices and stop haunting the streets. With great fanfare, it did not pass.
The delegates have spoken. The law is tabled.
The factions wanted children to stay in the streets apparently, giving up on them. So I also give up on them, as they might not be our future anymore, and instead go for waste heat conversion to get more heat within the city and stress the generator less. The foragers will hate me soon, as the previous law did not pass, though I didn't see them actively helping it in the council, so I'm going to ignore them and get the outsider law passed next. We need any outsider laws passed so the workforce can grow. We are drastically low on people to work the machines and burn the bodies. While ignoring the feral children that are currently robbing and eating each other in the housing district, we also ignored the foragers, who no longer believe in my word as God Captain. The traitor foragers finally tell me they are annoyed. Who cares? They are sceptical, but I will convince them to follow me again, as where else are they going to go? Outside, I finally connected the mine to the northern way station. It needs teams to run it, and I can't spare any yet due to exploration, so we do need more logistics districts. And finally, 92 weeks in since we tried to start rebuilding our civilization,
The eyes have it.
we have started to allow productive outsiders into our city. We have sort of decided to let the rest of humanity survive in the snow, however. Aren't we so nice? While on a roll fixing issues, we also grab filtration plant research to stop squalor spreading. My people may share the city with outsiders now, but I think fungus is a step too far. With filtration soon, I expand the industrial workshops and sweatshops alongside the housing, causing yet more squalor and crime we will fix. The extraction district is also expanded to it to compensate for more demand, gaining bonuses from the industrial. With crime rising, heat stamps dropping and time passing, we have done everything we can, but we need to expand coal and figure out a way to make more money. Oh, and here comes the outsiders. Finally we have people. Now we're poor. Great. Rich in people, poor in actual things that matter. The outsiders have also brought our old nemesis with them, the whiteout frost storms. Maybe I should have sealed the entrances. 180 weeks in, we will take our first major hit. Pray to your God, Captain, we be ready. But at least they brought new blood. And ice. Some would even say ice blood. Like this new faction. Apparently the outsiders have grouped together to support capitalism and paid essentials. The new faction wants us to adapt and become like them rather than build machines. This is going to cause some tensions. Liking their 500 members regardless, I promote them to main party. Let's roll the dice on political instability. With their belief it is absolute, I ask them to go back out on hunting trips and to pay a small amount of funds. This massively fills some issues we had before their arrival, apart from the storm, obviously. With that sorted, we get another way station active in the west. We need more outsiders, especially Icebloods, to keep the city running. Promoting the Icebloods also meant the next law was heat recycling without my input.
Delegates have spoken. The law takes effect.
It passes, but that's not the best, as I promised funerals for people to keep the foragers happy and get them back on side. I set it aside for the next vote to at least keep them compliant. The Icebloods, in true Wastelander fashion, are now fighting bears in the street for sport and amusement. This here is why men die younger. Intimidated by their strength, I vow to send all the unproductives of society to do maintenance on the most dangerous machines. Back outside, where the Icebloods are not, I find another place I can send scout teams to. It's hard to find easy locations, as most are hard to get to and require significantly more people. 40 teams seems to be the most common situation, and we are very far from that, with the storm still on the horizon and getting closer. With half my 20 teams on the plains, I debate sending the rest to the mines before forgetting about them immediately. I think it's time to hunt for upgrades for our scouts to get more into the field. Delving back into research, I find logistic bays and ask the Icebloods to contribute to the development. It will help support other 15 Frostland teams per bay, and this will allow us to recolonise the outside world in true British fashion. It turns out, though, relying on the Icebloods has repercussions. Local people have formed a technocrats who dislike me, the Icebloods, anyone with a cold, and people who can't use machines. On the bright side, they do want mandatory schools for children. Good luck herding those animals into a building. With so many factions tearing the city apart, I put funerals to the vote to get foragers on my side. I now care about their scepticism and the slowly growing mound of bodies. Luckily, everyone wants funerals, or at least the bodies put out of eyesight.
The law takes effect.
And with that, I have passed the foragers' request, and they believe in me once more. In an attempt to stop the technocrats destroying me, I promote them to the city, and then notice the Icebloods have taken over a high-rise district, where they're actively doing months-long rallies and declaring it theirs. I may have given them too much power. Leaving them to it, I find the Plains expedition finished and send the full amount of our scout teams to the hills to spread our influence as far as possible. If I had more people, I could go to the iron mines, but outsiders are still quite scarce and no one wants children. Hearing my needs, the logistics base finishes researching immediately after. With that out of the way, I decide to go for the railway research, so we can bring in resources and people faster from further away, lessening the burden on the teams. The first logistics bay is built into the northern way station. They are very expensive on our resources, but they are the future of our city. Unfortunately, they are so expensive we can only afford one. Being poor sucks. With that idea being concrete, I try and get the family apprenticeships put through the council once more. The feral youths need something to do, and I really need their tiny hands to get into dangerous and small areas full of cogs and steam.
The noes have it.
Yet again, no, I am let down. How can half the council want it but not vote for it? With my meagre funds available, I set up a brand new housing district and begin frost breaking to get a fourth housing district prepared for future. We need taxes, we need people, we need less crime. We aren't getting less crime. Apparently Annie, age 15, was deemed useful and the rest of her family was not. So the rest of her family may be out there in the frost dying. Annie, welcome to the community. You are useful. Forget about everyone else, please. I tell Annie teams have been sent out to look for a family, but instead send them to the iron mines for materials. While there, they start to set up a trail back to the northern way station so we can bring everything back with us, except Annie's family, but I don't tell her that part. With all the nearby resource piles outside now set up, we are future-proofing for when the storm hits and potentially wipes out our industrial districts, or at least the workers. With that in mind, we also expand the housing districts so that we have a surplus of workers for after the storm. We need more spaces for good workers, like Annie. She is a beacon to the cause. I try the third attempt at the child apprenticeships, but this time I negotiate. We need more workers like Annie. I work with the machinists. If they vote for this law with me, I will offer to support any law they want to bring to the table. We need children working, not stabbing.
The proposed law.
The law passes, and the machinists now have control of whatever agenda they want to bring in the future. Hopefully nothing too dangerous or life-altering. This has upset the Icebloods, who say we should only listen to them, and the technocrats, who have begun protesting in our only industrial district, strangling goods and stopping the flow of tax. The only way to get them to like me is to give them something. Being poor, this is a problem, so... Honestly, I'm debating just let him take it. You can have it. I don't care. Have it. See if I give a damn. Although it has hurt on money. Expansion carries on with the food district above the housing on the cliff. I don't have spare funds, but we are low on food. It is a bit late as our doom is approaching and the protests are still strangling our goods production. Personally, I like the look of our city, if you ignore the dangers and the gangs and the protests. The storm has made the technocrats like us and they cancelled the protest, or maybe they were unhappy about our lack of chairs being made. They are also voting against heat management, as that cuts into their coal profits or something. This was the devil's choice made to get children into work, cancelling their warmth.
The proposed law has been approved.
With less heat, we reinforce our outposts so we need less people to run them and carry on exploring everything. We have grabbed a ration bunker next to the city for more food, and the exploration teams are heading northwest, where we begin finding multiple groups of survivors which are all being invited back. Our scouts teams are now the lifeblood of the city. Speaking of blood, the Ice Bloods want a bio-waste hothouse. It sounds extremely bad for your health, but they gave us the tech, so we might as well end up building a few. With the first one down, the Ice Bloods like us more for keeping our word, and then like us less for not keeping our word. I forgot about unproductive maintenance. I brought the resilient outpost into the council, bribing the machinists once again to get it through. Hopefully this time it doesn't lead to protests from any other faction. With the scout teams safer, I discovered the first extraction district has cut down all the trees and a new one is needed fast. We are still on the edge of poverty resource-wise. This does not help. To resolve the resource issue, 3 teams have gone out to get 3,200 people and 400 goods. Because people like chairs and things. This will distract them from being poor. Food inside the city is also getting incredibly low. This district says 80 weeks left, which is nowhere near the 300 total target, so I need to spend even more expanding the second one as soon as I can. Which isn't soon, as the Whiteout 2 Electric Boogaloo is about to begin. We are looking at minus 80 or so for multiple weeks. I foresee death. In minor desperation, I build more housing so no one is outside and freezes as the storm sweeps over. Visibility is terrible, but at least it has stopped the Ice Bloods from rallying outside for the first time in nearly a year. The warning siren wails, and honestly, I do not think our stocks will last the full time. The coal definitely isn't lasting. We are minus 700 in the heat. This will kill thousands. In a desperate attempt to get more coal, I would send more teams back out to the mines, but the storm is slowly blanketing the land and no one wants to leave safety. I don't blame them, but it is their fault if we fall. Speaking of falling, the city is getting darker. 700 people have frozen to death in the city. Even the lights are falling, but worse still is a constant wind battering the walls. Another 700 people have frozen to death in the city. This isn't looking good. Even the city glows red in tension and distrust of me. The city has gone red because trust is really, really bad. Tension is rising. The city is falling. We broke the machinist's promise. I don't remember what that was. Another 700 people have frozen to death. Another 200 people have frozen to death. Luckily, we brought all those people in and they froze immediately to death. I am a legendary captain. This is going great. At the end, another 200 people have died, but luckily we've survived to week 220. 40 weeks of storm, and we have survived. Workers are immediately sent to the coal mines to get the heaters back up and running. We need to defrost fingers, dinners, and people stuck to cogs after all. Inside, a second coal district is being built as the first one nearly ran out in a storm. Barely 20 weeks of coal are left within. 230 weeks in, we have survived storms and multiple crises, though apparently 175 people have been mugged this week. The youth gangs are still rampant despite the fact 10,000 souls called us hellhole home. I wouldn't, but they have to. Research is thrown into a goods factory to get even more supplies flowing into the city, with the Ice Bloods again supporting it. And the machinists, as always, decide we shouldn't have resilient outposts. They really hate the city having anything useful. Idiots. And the industrial district is rebelling. This section needs repairs. Stop breaking things. Oh my god, stop breaking things. I don't know why they're protesting over here. There is like 1 week of coal left. You can have it. Ignoring the protests, I massively expand their housing. We need more people to replace losses and encourage even more growth for the future. Despite the name, another bio-waste drum hothouse is built to carry on growing even more food. I just hope this is not a Soylent Green situation going on, but I'd rather not know just in case. Sadly, with our limited scouting, we never found a new source of fuel. or even places to set up actual colonies. The British blood in me cries. Luckily, it is inside my body, as crime and the blood rivers are still rising in the streets due to the feral child gangs. 177 people recently suffered broken bones due to muggings. It's getting worse. People died in the frost and muggings are getting worse. How is that possible? The technocrats' demand has failed. We did not side with them, which means they're going to carry on protesting. And protesting worse. They are now at the food district, along with the coal and the industry. The technocrats seem determined to take every single person to hell with them. Wait, what? I think either they heard me plotting their doom, or they decided hell was not cold enough for them to go to, and they just stopped protesting. Or the Icebloods and their new request for watchtowers to send in the guards. The Icebloods are truly the heart of this city. With them keeping the city safe, I build an extraction district on the iron, a refurbishment plant in the industrial zone, and finally destroy the old coal district for funds. And that is our last act as God Captain. And the final storm hits. Thank you guys for watching this far. Hopefully you've enjoyed the run. This has been Frostpunk 2. The Icebloods are happy with us. If you've enjoyed it, please, as always, like and all that down below. Leave comments, please leave comments. This is my first attempt at a edited series like this. If you enjoyed it, please tell me. If you've not enjoyed it, also please tell me. I will try harder. But I have been the Fallen Shogun. This has been the Frostpunk 2 beta run. Take care, be awesome, be epic, and this is the end of our great and glorious city. Watch it fail as the storm rolls in.